Affirmations and the law of attractions. Affirmations and the law of attraction do not work if you're not doing somatic shadow work. The danger of doing affirmations and using the law of attraction to manifest our best life or whatnot is dangerous. Because if we project our mind, if we project our energy too much into the future, we're leaving our body. And the thing is, you can do that however much you want. You can envision your perfect day, your perfect life. If you don't include your body in the awareness of what you actually want, if you don't truly feel what you're longing for, your manifestations just will not work. And in this video, I want to talk about how we can unlock the somatic wisdom of our future self in the here and now. And before we dive into that in a very practical manner, we need to talk about time in general, especially the past and the future. Because the past and the future are concepts in our head. The future is not real, so to say. It's something that we create in our mind and we project outwards. We project outside of ourselves. But the thing is, when we sit down and we envision the life that we want, when we write down things, when we do like vision boards and all of these different practices we associate with the law of attraction and manifesting, we're fundamentally talking about something that is happening in the here and now. The future doesn't exist outside of your head and outside of the confines of the present moment. And the same thing is true for the past. So when we're talking about past traumas, we're talking about something that is constructed in the here and now. And the good thing is about that, and this is why therapy works, if we construct something in the here and now, if we talk about something that happened, which is actually something that is happening here and now, if we build that, so to speak, with our words and the way we behave, we also can construct a different reality. And this is what therapy and somatic work is fundamentally, letting go of the old narratives of the old ways of holding our bodies, of our old experience, so to say, that is stuck in the past, and actualizing a new way of being, a new way of relating, a new way of living in the here and now. The same thing is true for the future. So we're going to take in this video the somatic wisdom of our future self and anchor it in the here and now. Because when we manifest, we're not really manifesting into the future, we're manifesting into the here and now. What we're doing when we use affirmations properly and when we use visualization techniques properly, we're not playing with the future, we're trying to alter our state in the here and now. What trauma does is it's narrowing our perception. It's almost like this windshield we have, when horses have like these little flaps here, they can only see so much. It's like we're looking through a looking glass and it narrows our perception. For a good reason. Because in the past we experienced that being alive, being fully in touch with our aliveness and getting in like the present moment and the room that we're sitting in is dangerous because the room was dangerous. So what the nervous system does, it contracts our focus. It contracts our bodily responses and it activates bracing patterns and tensions in our body that prevent from actual threat and danger to come at us. We're only focusing on escape. This is the survival personality that is formed. This is the basis of how we reconstruct trauma in the present moment. It's through holding patterns and through this narrow focus. What we do when we use affirmations and when we envision a different reality, which is very useful if you do it right. I'm not saying in this video that you can go to bed and then have like £1 million on your bank account. I'm not a guy that says that, but it's useful. And I've been wrestling with that idea for, I think, at least 15 years now, because for some reason it worked. But the narrative of you can do whatever you want in like split second and only a few weeks and miracles will happen, it never really struck with me. But it was useful and I could feel the usefulness, I could feel the aliveness and the vitality that was coursing through my body when I did these practices. So there was something to it and I think I figured it out. I'm very, very sure because this is working really well in the hundreds of clients that I've worked with and the people that we also train in our emotional release training. So you project into the future, and what you do then is you instead of this narrow focus, you're widening the focus. What trauma does is it's imprinting us with a notion of impending doom. The future is basically doomed. You know, this feeling of like this hopelessness when it comes to the future, this grayness, this dullness, and you're also always constantly worrying, biting your nails and being like, I don't know, fidgety and tense around things happening in the future. There's just this constant worry, this constant feeling of I need to run away, need to run away. Why? Because we project the fear that we have in the here and now, the tension that is playing out in the here and now, into the future, and we're locking in our focus on that because our survival depends on it. That's at least what the nervous system is thinking. And all the alternatives, for example, this is an actual possibility. I'm not shitting you. Next week could be the best week of your life. It could be, you could make potentially the most profound experiences that you've ever had in your life. You could meet your ideal partner. You could make friends that you absolutely resonate with. Maybe somebody's offering you a job out of the blue and you don't need to lift a finger to go there. It's possible. It's possible in the same way that the scenarios of impending doom, everything will go to shit next week. Oh fuck, I'm already stressed about going to work. Oh no, I'm meeting this friend that I don't really like, blah, blah, blah. Your brain starts to believe it and your nervous system acts as if this is already here. So what we're doing when we use the law of attraction, we're opening up that focus and we're teaching the nervous system and the brain in the here and now that a good future is possible. And if the good future is possible, then that means we can feel the good future in the here and now. The reason we do these practices is to change our state in the present moment. And then something remarkable happens. Because if you feel good in the present moment, if your nervous system is regulated and you're more in a state of maybe awaking the miracles that are to come, and you are in reverence and in touch with all the beauty that surrounds you, of course, you will notice different things. You will act differently in very subtle ways. Your interest, your focus will go on different things throughout the day, and you will attract a new life for yourself. Because the default mode of your brain is not, I have to run away from some danger. It's, I feel good. And through me feeling good, through me feeling vital and alive, I'm channeling that aliveness into my awareness. It's an automated process, and I will attract more things that are in congruence with that state. So, how can we get there? How can we get into this feeling of juicy aliveness? There's 4 steps that you can do in order to use the wisdom of your future self, the somatic expression of your future self, to get what you want and live a life of more vitality. So let's dive right into that. So I mentioned this briefly in the beginning already. The first thing you need to do, step number 1, is you envision a scenario in the future where you either have what you wanted or a problem that you're wrestling with is already solved. And you imagine that in a way where it's already unmistakably true. This can be, for example, a friend congratulating you for achieving what you wanted, or a friend noticing, for example, oh, I noticed you're so vital, you're so alive, like you don't have that feeling of anxiety anymore when we're around people. I'm so grateful, I'm so happy for you that you have gone through this, and I'm actually inspired by you. Wow, I love being around you. Envision something like this. Make it big. Let it grow. If, for example, you're struggling with money anxiety, and again, I'm not saying that you are magically attracting that in without doing anything. If you have money anxiety, really try for yourself. Envision yourself. What would be different in the future? What scenario would I be in if I didn't have the anxiety? What would be there instead of the anxiety? What would be there instead? Very important question. What would be there instead of the thing that you want to get rid of, that you want to overcome in the present moment? And usually, what is there instead of our problems is something like vitality, is something like more aliveness, is something like motivation, is something like an openness to the present moment, inspiration, growing, expanding, something like that. And you can already tell by the way I'm talking about this, that this is a very embodied process. It's getting in touch with the somatic expressions of these feelings. So what would be there instead of your problem? And you might say, oh, I would feel less anxious. I would feel less depressed. I would feel less tense when I wake up. Perfect. But I'm asking you, if you say, I would be less anxious, that doesn't tell me anything about what you actually want. It's a negating statement. It's just like saying, this is not a flower. It doesn't tell me anything about what this really is. This is a hand. So if you're saying, I want to feel less anxious, you're just in the same way not giving really the clarity that the brain wants. So what would be there instead of the anxiety? There would be a feeling of aliveness. Wow, you can already feel what this is doing, the usefulness, so to speak, of having that focus. How could you tell? This is the second question of bringing that reality and changing your somatic state. How could you tell that aliveness was here? What would you think differently? What would you feel differently? How would you speak differently? How would your breath change? How would your posture change? How would the way you walk change? What becomes possible in the moment you overcame this problem and you feel alive? What thoughts are going through your head? What inner images are you having in that moment? This is where we open the door to the room where our future self is living in. And now we want to go into that room and really get in touch with that juicy feeling of aliveness and see how we can use that for our own process. So this was step number one. Here comes step number two. Step number two is we want to anchor that in our body. So you're going to sit down, you're going to envision the scene, and you're really going to breathe into that. And now we are sort of detaching from the scene. We're still having the scene running in the background. It's about a 30 minute scene, 30-second scene. That is repeating all over, and you're feeling that gratitude, you're feeling that feeling of aliveness, of whatever you want to achieve in your body, and you let it course through your body. You ask yourself if you can allow that to expand, if you can allow that to expand in every fiber of your body, in every muscle of your body, in all of the different layers of your body-mind system, in your head, in your toes. Let it expand, let it anchor in the body. This is an embodied process. This is not only happening here because we need to utilize the body. We need to get in touch with the body in order to teach our nervous system a different reality. And while you do that, you are already experiencing a different reality. And this is no magical thinking. This is actually providing us with the agency to overcome the problems that we're faced with. This is making us more strong, more alive, more upright, more present in the moment. These are just better conditions, better foundations for the problems of life that we want to tackle and the goals that we want to reach, so to speak. We are resourcing ourselves. Second step, anchor that in your body. So here's the third step. We are going to convert that feeling into a part. And there's a simple question that you can ask for the third step of this process. If this energy had a form, a human form, how would it look like? And I'm getting pretty activated here while I speak. I'm in touch with something, definitely. And I see something like when I sense into that energy, you want to almost imagine asking that question into that energy. Let that question drop down into your body and then wait for an answer. Like, don't sit there thinking, it would probably be this and that. Open yourself up, allow yourself to enjoy that energy and ask yourself, if this energy was a part, how would it look like? For me, it's something like a magician, something like a white magician, like a very holy figure that is showing up for me. Okay, I'm getting in touch with that. And now you've converted that feeling into a part of yourself. This is the third step. It could also be a form. Some people see something like light. Some people also see an animal, or they see a certain form that is emerging, or they are in touch with a memory. That's all perfect. The best thing you can do is really asking yourself, how would that look like if it was human? Because if the part is human, we can have a conversation with it and we can actively engage with it more easily. So this is the imagined form of your future self. So we did 3 things now. We have the scene of the future that we want. We have the body anchor that we want. And we have our future self distilled from that state. So you can now interact with it. And this is the 4th step. You are going to be in touch with that feeling. Feel that feeling in your body. And then ask the future self all the questions you want to ask. And here's something really cool, because in this process, you will have objections. There's your mind going on and saying things like, oh, how does this work? I don't believe this is going to happen. And how will this support me anyways? Use that. Don't bypass that, because often in law of attraction, like practices where like bypassing that and only focus on the good. We want to include that in the process, because now there's 2 parts showing up. There's your inner skeptic, for example. There's your inner, inner critic, for example, that is angry, that is like, oh, what's the use of this? And you can have the inner critic, the skeptic, and your future self, and your higher self, and that being that we just contacted through your somatic wisdom. Let them have a conversation. So if you're sitting here right now, for example, could be that you're super blissed out, could be that you're just here 1%, but you're in touch with that somatic expression and that imagined expression of your future self. You're in touch with that, and you can ask it questions. What's the best thing I can do right now in order to get what I want? And then this part in me, for example, says, it's not about getting what you want. What you want is already here. It's about revealing what is already there. If you're running towards getting what you want, that implies that what you want is not here, and you'll be in a constant process of running and chasing. So it's not about getting what you want. It's about getting in touch with what is here. Okay, that's a proper magician speaking. I can subscribe to that. That was pretty awesome. There's a part in me right now that wants like something practical. There's like this practical part of me that's like, yeah, sounds good and all, and it feels good and stuff, but where's the practicality? I don't know what to do. I'm taking this seriously. I'm not resisting that part. And I'm now like introducing that part to this figure that I just contacted. You can also give it a name. For example, for me, it would be the wizard or my future self, whatever, my highest self. I think highest self sounds good for me right now, my light self. So I'm going to ask this part, what would you like to, what's your objection? He said, yeah, it's not practical enough. I want like practical steps in order to do that. Okay. And now I imagine this other part, my light self, replying to that. Wow, this is good. It said something like, first of all, it said, I like that idea. There's no battle going on. It like took the energy of that practical, more masculine maybe part and said something like, okay, it doesn't really matter what you do, but whatever you do, make love out of it. Whatever step you're going to take, it's not really about the steps you're going to take, but about how you take the steps. So it's saying something like, whatever you do, enjoy it. Fill it with love, fill it with awareness. And every step, this is like I like it a lot. It's just, it's so, it could be like on a, these little calendars where there's like quotes on it. It could be like that. Make every step filled with love and the outcome won't matter. Because if you do something out of love, you already have what you love, because in the end, you only want love. I'm like, okay. I have nothing to add to that. I don't even know how to continue this video, to be honest. I think that was a good demonstration on how this could work. How it would continue now is I would feel in my body and I would just continue the conversation. Maybe I would go and do the 4 steps again and envision a different scenario with myself where I would also have what I wanted. This feeling would be actualized and brought into reality. And I would do the 4 steps again. I don't have to imagine a new part for that energy. I can just, for example, take my light being and insert it into the reality that is already there and sort of imagine it being by my side, informing and giving me energy and giving me warmth in that moment. And again, ask, how can I get here? Or what is the truth that I'm not speaking right now? How can I be even more myself? Things like this. And you will be surprised if you really are receptive to the answers of that wisdom. You're going to be surprised at what happens. And the cool thing is in this process, what you're trying to manifest becomes less and less important because you feel it already in the here and now. And you're going to, in very subtle ways, feel that this part that you contacted is working its magic. And you can always go back to that because you've anchored that in your body. Your brain has now a reference. Your nervous system has now a reference. And whenever you feel anxious, you can retreat and you can contact that part, get in touch with it, and let the energy emerge, even if it's just 1%. And ask this part questions. Ask it for its guidance. Ask it for its warmth, for its blessing. This is your inner king, your inner queen showing. And one of the most profound practices that I've encountered so far. I'm using this with my clients a lot in my one-on-one coaching therapeutic practice. And I want you to do it yourself. It's beautiful. So share in the comments how this process landed for you. And I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.